Hi ladies, happy Wednesday. I wasn't going to go live today, but I absolutely had to. Something was really interesting, a conversation, a discussion, a thread as we can say, happened in one of the face groups that I'm a member of. Perhaps you're a member of it too. Maybe you participated in the discussion. It's in the Christian Women Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And this morning, one of the members of this group shared her disgust with Marie Forleo's latest video. And that although she is a past customer of hers, she had bought and participated in B-School, she was unsubscribing from her newsletter, and the reason why is, she'd seen over the years the new age philosophies that she was that was a part of her business, and this one that came out on Tuesday was really the last straw. And it was a really interesting discussion, and it reminded me of something that we tend to not focus on in our marketing. We tend to focus on, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do to reach my ideal clients? What are the strategies? What's the latest, hottest, most effective strategies? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? In fact, yesterday in my How to Generate More Profits as a Christ-Centered Female Entrepreneur Masterclass, I shared 30 marketing strategies. I shared, what needs to be included in your marketing plan and the strategies that are going to help you enroll long-term clients. I shared the what and when to use it. So we tend to focus on that, but we forget to focus on how should we be, which is really what makes our marketing most effective in terms of attracting our ideal clients and repelling our non-ideal clients. Like, how should we be? How should we show up in all of our marketing, from our newsletters to our promotional emails to our videos? How should we be? And specifically, I'm talking about our beliefs and our values and what we stand for, because it's a reflection of how we do everything. It's a reflection of what it's going to be like to work with us in our programs, what it's going to be like to learn from us in our courses, what's going to be infused in everything that we do. And so I said the question, are you doing this in your marketing, or is your marketing doing this? That's actually what I asked in this post. Is it repelling your non-ideal clients, and is it attracting your ideal clients? So in this Christian Women Entrepreneur group, the discussion was so rich, and people were like saying, if you're thinking about doing B-School, I would think about it again. And one of the leaders, the host of this community, was like, this is why we don't share Marie's videos. I chipped in because I was so intrigued, like, what is the video that really rubbed her so wrong that she was like, I'm going to unsubscribe? And I watched the video, and to be honest, it was answering one of her followers' question about anger. And the advice that she gave, just in general, for me, it was a joke. It was laughable, because I was thinking about when I was my most angriest and and my anger was directed towards God because it was when my father had passed. And her 3 steps, it was laughable. And nowhere in her steps did she include God's role, God's hand, God's purpose, God's plan, God's direction in her 3 steps. It was very much a new age philosophy of, I always say, like, if it's to be, it's up to me. So I found it laughable. I found it like anyone who's ever lived a while and really experienced grief, experienced anger, these 3 steps are laughable. And she also positioned God as this fairy godmother, as this princess. And as one woman said in her post, it was like she was having God verify if she was right. So, but I want to know, like, what brought up all of this angst and repelling? And here's the thing. Under this video, there were so many people who were praising Marie and like, thank you. Like, I know as many Christian women were unsubscribing, she was getting subscribers. She was getting more fans and more followers. And so her marketing, from a marketing standpoint, was highly effective. And so, bringing it back to which our marketing needs to do. But again, it also made me, this reason why I said I'm going to do this video, and I have no makeup on. I'm planning on getting to the gym, and that otherwise I would have, full disclosure, I wear makeup anyway, almost every single day. And so I like to do my videos with my makeup on. So when I don't have makeup, it's because I haven't planned it. But I thought about specifically, because I just did this masterclass, I thought about a time where I was so terrified to share my Christian beliefs in my marketing, to lead with my Christian beliefs. I remember none of the coaches and mentors that I worked with really stressed the importance of it for many different reasons. And so I remember when I made the decision, I can't even tell you what prompted it. If I'm thinking back, the one course that encouraged it was a course I took with Fabian Fredrickson's. I think that's the time, if I'm remembering. But here's the thing. I remember choosing scriptures. I was going to lead with scriptures in quotes because I was so irritated, to be honest. I was so irritated how people were quoting the Bible but not giving it acknowledgement. I'm like I was just annoyed by that. I remember. And so I gave my VA at the time the scriptures that I wanted her to schedule out on LinkedIn and in Twitter. And one of the reasons I gave it, because I knew that she would get it done. Like, she was not having the same feeling. She would just do her job and get it done. And a couple hours, or maybe it was a couple days, because I remember I was parking and going into Bible study. And I asked her, I was like, did you schedule those already? Because I started second guessing myself and doubting myself. Because, there weren't a lot of people, at least who I was following, and still there's not, who were posting scriptures on LinkedIn. And I asked her, I was like, did you already schedule those out? And I was questioning it. And she was like, well, I already scheduled it. Do you want me to delete them? Now I was like, so you already scheduled it, I already paid for it, so no. But I remember walking into Bible study, like, really afraid and just fearful. And what I was afraid of was because the enemy was telling me, that people are going to question me, and people are going to question my faith, and people are going to inbox me and say things about, like, I was afraid of, the reaction that the enemy told me would happen, which did not happen. Nothing that the enemy told me would happen that was, really the source of my fear. And we know where fear comes from, right? So it makes sense. But at the time, I had like gotten outside of my fear, but then I was fearful and afraid. None of it happened. Instead, the reverse. That people were hiring me and said the reason why they hired me was they were looking for an executive coach. They were looking for a professional coach, and they were pleasantly surprised to see that I was a believer. And so, if you are questioning or wondering, the importance of sharing, of how you should show up, right? Like this, how you should show up and sharing your beliefs and sharing your values. If you're feeling this fear, I just want to say it's normal. Maybe you're like me. I'm a private person, and the West Indians in the group can may be able to support me in this. I'm Jamaican, and as a whole, Jamaicans are pretty, and Westerners are pretty private. And so, I come from a cult. It's like being private. That's how I was raised, and culturally. And then myself, I tend to be pretty private. I'm an extrovert, but sharing online is not easy for me to do. It is much easier to do a video than typing, writing. And I at first I was like, do I have to? Like, why? Shouldn't my content be enough? Well, the truth is, no, it's not enough. There are people right now, thousands, millions, who are searching for, who are praying for your solutions, and they're praying that they can work with a believer. Like it would be just awesome if they knew that not only can they get their problem solved, but they can get it solved by someone who shares their faith, who shares their value, who comes from a place of service and is driven by service and is driven by purpose and not money. And they won't know that, without us sharing it, without it being loud and clear. And we won't be able to repel, because our marketing needs to attract and repel. And we won't be able to repel our non-ideal clients if we don't share our beliefs, if we don't share our values, and we don't share our love for Christ. And so as I was thinking today, this is for you who may be on the sidelines with really fully sharing your beliefs, and it should be weaved throughout everything you do. Now, I'm making an assumption here. I strongly believe that Marie Forleo would say that she's a Christian. She is very intentional with her work. She probably didn't see where the conflict may be. Maybe she did. I don't know. I don't know her. I've never done any of her programs. I don't know her at all. But maybe she wouldn't see, or maybe she wouldn't, and obviously doesn't care how creating God as a fairy tale, as a princess, and not including God's role in dealing with anger as a problem, right? But it's, and that's okay. But I lost my train of thought. I guess my whole point is, but by watching this, it's clear of her philosophies, her beliefs that will be included in everything that she does. So ask yourself every time you are putting together any marketing material, is your marketing doing this? Is it repelling or attracting? And for some of you, you're already like boldly sharing your faith. And so, perhaps your next step is to even boldly share more of who you are, to be vulnerable, to be even more authentic. I know that's something that, I'm continually working on as a private person, coming here with no makeup. And in fact, as I close, I can remember my first live because my friends know me as someone who, I wear skirts, I wear dresses and have makeup on. And my hair's done. I remember a friend was like, yeah, I saw your video and I was wondering, why is she not wearing makeup? And again, it was an early Saturday morning. I was heading to the gym. I didn't feel like putting my makeup on and taking it off. And this is a side of me too, So for me, it's like, how can I be more authentic? How can I be more vulnerable? How can I be, more transparent? That's where I am, and maybe you are too. And maybe you are where I was, that it just felt the word that's coming, like death, to even express your beliefs, your Christian walk, your Christian faith. And the enemy was telling you lies of what would happen if you do. And I'm encouraging you, it won't happen, but what will happen is you will attract your ideal prospects, and it will help them it will be easier for them to make a decision if they're to work with you. So for those who are watching the replay, if you have any questions, I'll come back around, and I can't wait for you, for all of us, because we're in this together, to just show up more and more each day as God created us to show up, to be that leader that God created us to be. Okay, have a wonderful Wednesday. And for those who just joined, I'm actually running off. Have a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow at 12 noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. And love you. Bye-bye.